Hello, Gino. How you doing today?
Good, brother. How are you?
Doing great as well, Gino. Thanks for asking. Gino, there's a couple of things I want to cover with you today about your managed sales team service so that users of the CloudTools Marketplace can read, can learn about it, and identify if this service is a good fit for their needs or not. There's three questions I want to ask you today, so let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is who is the best fit for this service offer?
Yeah, firstly, I would say we work mostly with SaaS clients. I don't want to pigeonhole us to just SaaS, but clients that have recurring revenue are looking for subscriptions to increase their SaaS clientele. Uh, and the reason that is the best fit for us is we're able to work backward from the customer acquisition cost and lifetime value. We do have clients that are not SaaS based, so broadening that umbrella. I would
Mhm.
say anyone that has identified their target addressable market, they know the right title, they know the right industry, and they want to use an experienced SaaS or non-SaaS SDR to attack their target addressable market, getting them more. I'm throwing around a lot of acronyms. ICP, ideal client profiles. So many of our clients have 1 to 5 customers, alpha, beta, paying customers, happy or not, and they use us to expand that footprint. So I'll give you a really good example. We work with a lot of Y Combinator startups. They will
Okay.
come to us and they will have said, hey, we exhausted our Rolodex. We had a bunch of inbound leads 6 months ago. It was great. We learned a lot. We changed our product a lot. And now we have this like stagnance, this hiccup. And, it's super common for startups to go through different waves and different cycles for both inbound and outbound. And
Right.
they'll then use us to laser focus. We'll call it spear fishing versus casting a net. And our experienced SDRs will go after their target addressable market in a non-spammy way, personalized outreach via email, social selling, and phone. And our experienced SDRs will bring them back what we call SQLs, sales qualified leads, introductory calls, demos, questionnaires filled out, et cetera, et cetera. We're agnostic to how the lead is qualified.
Fantastic. So, startup companies, you mentioned SaaS companies, a little bit of a broader industry ranges. You mentioned also another type of clients in other verticals, but I would say companies that know who their buyer is going to be, as you said, their ICP, they just need more manpower, right? And there's one thing I want to double check as you're explaining a couple of the channels that you use. I guess that leads me to my next question. What are the components of the service software? So you mentioned some BDRs, you mentioned some channels. Walk me through what would be the platforms, process, and people involved. And in terms of people, who would be dedicated, fractional, or may support the campaign from behind the scenes?
Yeah, this is a good question. And I do want to drill in on the best and then zoom out to all of our clients. So um, we keep about between 100 and 120 active SDRs on staff. We are a staffing firm in that sense. Some people use us just for better priced, experienced SaaS based SDRs. That's like bucket number one. Number two, people use us for our flexibility to scale up and scale down. We have clients with as little as one SDR, 10 hours a week, and clients as many as 30 SDRs full time. So we do allow you to scale up and down. Everything we do is month to month with a 30-day cancellation. So I tell people this, there is no startup cost, but you work with us for at least 60 days. After that, it is a 30-day cancellation. You can walk away anytime. The components of the service, the vast majority of our clients use us for what we call land, air, and sea. Email being one, social selling being two, and phones being three. Those are the most three common mediums we use to reach out to clients. The components of the service, if I had to zoom out of being a staffing firm, I used to be a global director of dev. My most recent gig was at Superhuman. So some people hire me to be a fractional director of sales dev for their company. bring them in, 1099 SDRs that have experience at a lower cost. Other people use me just for staffing. Other people use me just for consulting. And last but not least, I joke when I say this, we're a VAR, a value-added reseller that doesn't mark up software. So in addition to hiring the staffing, I've worked with a lot of different softwares that enhance email, enhance data, enhance lead gen, all the way to automate social media selling. So a lot of people use us for an SDR or multiple, and then also use me to recommend the software they need. Our SDRs work from your environment. So although they are 1099 month to month, they have your email domain. Their LinkedIn says they work with you. They're in your Slack every day. They're on your suite of products. So you have an employee that only works with your product. Our SDRs do not work on multiple different projects at once. Some SDRs will say, I need at least 30 hours a week. So I'll tell them, hey, this SDR is only available for 30 hours a week. Versus, chopping them up for, 10 to 3 clients. So the components of our service really are taking the entire leg of sales dev, the entire go-to-market of sales dev, and offering it to our clients and letting them a la carte shop which piece of that puzzle they need, whether it's every piece or just one piece. So I start off by saying we're a staffing firm. That's our financial model. Our only profits come from, and we're very transparent with our SDRs. They've been with us for multiple years. We charge one rate. Our margins are within that rate. And then everything else we offer is a non-additional charge. It's at cost to you, invoiced on a line item.
That's fantastic. So the listing itself, it says it's for an SDR omni-channel, but you just gave a lot of color on the flexibility of the services that Seed2C can offer. So you mentioned they can hire you as a fractional VP of sales to help structure the campaigns, help staff the teams, and deploy that revenue machine that's going to continue to work for those clients. You can also provide them fractional reps, as little as maybe 10 hours a week, just to hit the ground, get some campaigns running, get some awareness going on, and start to build some pipeline, or continue to scale into multiple FTEs or employees that you would be running for them, almost in a staff augmentation play, but with the frills that you can add consultation services, technology, etc. But ideally, you work from their system. Ideally, you work with their leads. So I guess this takes me to my next and last question, which is, what can a client expect in the first 120 days once they hire you for, let's say, 1 to 3 SDRs? What does that onboarding look like? What are the timeframes, deliverables that they would typically expect?
Absolutely. And just before I get to this question, you did a fantastic job recapping. I just want to add a couple of points. Some clients, I'm going to try and not use names, but we're very proud of the logos we have, use us. They just needed a French speaker, a German speaker. We had a gentleman reach out to us from New York. He needed Russian speakers. So people use us within their team. You don't only need to use us as your entire branch of sales dev. We work within some very well-known unicorn startups, just providing one service to one region, to one, like a very popular one is giving us APAC. Hey, we're headquartered in the US. We can take North and South America, Western Europe. We'll use you where we don't, when we're sleeping, kind of thing. So I just want to be clear to anyone, reach out with any questions. Our use cases, we keep around 100 to 120 SDRs and usually around 22 right now to about 26 clients active. So please ask us any questions. We are an a la carte. I call myself a yes man. If you ask the service, I can provide it. I will quote you it. So
you make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So please ask any questions. And now to your question here. I usually speak in more 90 days, but I will give you the whole 120. So I always tell clients this, and this is very industry standard. I tell people you'll see about 25% of results your first 30, 50%, 31 to 60, and 100%, 61 to 90. So internalizing that, what does that mean? We have to work backward from your customer, your current customer acquisition cost, your current results. We have to work backward from your specific TAM, the titles you're going at. If you ask me to reach out to marketing managers and book a discovery call, the goals will be vastly different than if you're asking me to reach out to the C-suite and you're an enterprise product with $100,000 ACV. So I'm trying to give the exact answer in generic terms, but it really does matter the market you're selling to, the titles you're selling to, and what you're asking us to book. We have clients that just ask discovery calls, right title, right company. That's it. Here's a list of titles. We just want SaaS companies of this title, or we just want, I'll give you a real example, telemarketing companies of this size, or we just want insurance companies of that size. If you give us those prerequisites and we just need to book discovery calls with any title or any size company, the results vary in terms of volume. On the flip side, we have individuals that say, I just want to speak to the founder and they need to have these 3 pain points. So now that's not an SQL anymore. This is actually a qualified opportunity. So in terms of the pipeline of sales, I would put MQL at the top, SQL second, opportunity third. We're now at the 3rd tier. So those top 2 calls that I could have booked, they're now having fall off. They're unconverting because of certain qualifications. If I had to go really old school with BANT, budget, authority, need, and timing, some of our clients just say, hey, tell them our starting cost to check the B box. As long as that doesn't terrify them, go with the authority. We're booking B and A. If they have this title and this price doesn't scare them, book it. Other will say, hey, we need to have this need. They need to have this pain. They need to have this CRM. Now we're getting a little deeper into the opportunity. And last but not least, timing, and we could debate this for hours. Some will say, hey, they're currently shopping for a solution that we offer. So now we're down to 90 days or less in T. Others will say, hey, they're considering something like this calendar year. So it really all depends on the prerequisites. But what I try and tell people, and again, I'll try and stick with benchmarks. We also have inbound versus outbound SDRs. We also have SDRs that work on intercom or drift, manning or womaning the website.
Chat, yep.
Yep. We also have account managers, CSs, all the way to AEs. We do stay in the realm of rev generating customer facing. So SDR is by far our number one. It's about 80 of the 120 people we keep on staff. So it is the large majority. CS or AM comes second, AE third, and they're usually paired with an SDR. I'm happy to do it without that. But someone will usually say, hey, Gino, I need 2 part-time SDRs, and I'll take a full-time AE for them to feed. Just wanted to cover all of that. So aside from the 25, 50, 100% after 3 months and 100% every month forward, some benchmarks I would say, a part-time SDR, if you have 2 20-hour-a-week SDRs, I usually see each perform about 60% of a full-time. So 2 part-time actually get you 120 of benchmark results. And the benchmarks we see are usually 5 to 6 outbound, 8 to 12 inbound. You can blend those however you want. You know, they're doing half and half right down the middle, or hey, we don't get enough inbounds. They're really only doing 5 of their 20 hours on inbound and 15 on outbound. And those are really common benchmarks. And sincerely, we have clients that have an ARR product of as little as 8,000 a year, all the way up to $250,000.
This is fantastic, Gino, because now you're painting a picture that, for me, the main theme that I'm capturing after hearing you speak and what I've learned about your listing is the flexibility. So it's not just outbound appointment setting, which is the main theme of the listing at the moment, but you're giving light on how you can be flexible. And as long as there's a product, a ticket whose ACV is 8K, ideally above that, then you can do inbound, you can do outbound, you can do a combination of both. You can have appointment setters or closers as well. A combination of both. And in your 120, let's say, sales reps team, there's multiple different roles that you can accommodate depending on your client needs. Ideally, it's going to take you 3 months to ramp up, but it's a month-by-month service. So there is, let's say, not as big of a commitment as having to secure or lock in a 6-month contract, but they will see the versatility of the program. Ideally, they should let it play at least for a minimum of 3 months so they can get the ROI or start to get the ROI of the investment, the upfront investment that they're making. But again, the main theme is flexibility across the board. And with the flexibility and the way you explain the services, I can see the expertise behind it. Now, Gino, is there anything else you would like to share with maybe the users of the marketplace looking right now at this video and considering if Seed2C is a good fit for them? Any other advice that you would let them know before they go ahead and click on that book an interview meeting button?
Yeah, I would say we call ourselves a boutique shop. I really only take on one new client a month. We pride ourselves off the quality of our sales reps. They have experience in the software space, booking SQLs and opportunities. Use us. Use us as a free recruiting firm before you sign anything. What am I talking about? Before anyone agrees to work with us, you actually get to meet the SDR. So I always tell people, don't agree to work with me unless the SDRs you're meeting impress you and you want to work with them. So ask me any questions, email anything, and ask to meet a couple SDRs and see if you believe they can accomplish your wants and needs. And the best part is you can get all the way to that final stage with pen never hitting paper, never agreeing to give us a penny, unless you believe myself understands your problems and pains and can deliver a solution, and the SDR you met is high quality enough. And then last but not least, kind of one layer under that, because I only bring on one client a month, you do have me as a fractional director of dev, not billing hours, but actually building their go-to-market cadences. I used to work directly with a company called Scaled, SKALED, and SalesLoft. We were a professional services arm of SalesLoft. So clients were buying SalesLoft, ready to experience the power of it. Very good product. And they realized they weren't ready to fill in the cadence. They didn't have the firepower. So back when I was still a W-2 employee, I would physically meet with clients, prepare their product and cadence. And I didn't even realize that at the time. I was training myself to build and be what I am now. So clients get me, someone that worked directly as professional services for a very good brand, to prepare their first cadences, their templates, how they overcome objections. A lot of times we live in the company's Slack, so they're sending us nonstop requests, and it is a pyramid. So, I'm at the top of it there to help everyone. I have people that have been with me for up to 7 years now that are now directors, managers. And I didn't get into this, like, we do provide a single person, which I mentioned, but I also have clients that use us. They have the SDRs, they have the management, and they have me as the fractional. I didn't mention the middle part. We have SDR managers and directors as well. So people use us to outsource sales dev, and we do it in multiple different, every one of my clients and every one of the SDRs and AEs and AMs and CSs you met would tell you a different client we're doing something slightly different for.
Perfect. I like that level of customization that comes with the expertise, the flexibility that you're giving them, the fact that you're showing them the rep that's going to be allocated to the account before they even make the first payment. The fact that there's no upfront cost really makes this a very versatile service that should allow a lot of different founders to get a feel for whether this is a good fit for them or not in a, let's say, risk reduced environment, understanding that there's always a commitment, at least with paying the first 1 to 2 months, but they're not getting tied to a 6-month contract. They get to see the reps, they get to onboard on their time and get consulted or consulting services from you, a seasoned professional in the field. Gino, thank you so much for providing more information about your managed sales teams. This has been very clear, and we hope that users of the marketplace looking at this service listing, if you think this is a good fit for you, go ahead and hit the interview button so you get to book time with Gino and learn more about Seed2C services and how they would apply to your specific company. Gino, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I guess I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time, brother.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.